They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat.
That is going to be our intro from now until MAGA Day.
Oh, don't worry, I got more.
That's right, man. We have to protect the cats, keep the cats safe. Folks, welcome to News from the Pew. It is the internet, and we talk about it. I am your host, Rick Barrett, The Armed Catholic. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com. You can also check out my book, The Armed Catholic, which I might sneak off and grab a copy while we're doing stuff. It is now available for pre-sale at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and if you're looking for other places, you can go to thearmedcatholic.com. There's a big banner there. Pre-order the ebook. I'm working on a audiobook right now with some people trying to get that done. Yes, my book is available, and I will have actually, while Steve talks, I'm going to go grab a copy because.
Are you a New York Times bestseller yet?
Yeah, no. But yeah, that's Steve.
Oh, you're just leaving. Okay, great. Yeah. All right. Well, go get his book. It's available. All the where did you say he was? I wasn't paying attention. Anyways, let's get back to where we at. Why'd you leave? Okay. I didn't know you were just going to go. All right. World Economic Forum. My time topic. Rick's gone. I'm taking over. Clown Planet. Here we go.
No.
We are speaking not just about the fourth industrial revolution. We are speaking about the transition of humankind into a new era, which is not just characterized by technological change. A new era where humankind will enjoy many more opportunities and possibilities.
I'm sorry, folks. I shouldn't have left.
It's a transition. It's a transition from we first had the transition about 100 years ago from the agricultural society to the industrial society. But today, we speak about the transition into what I would call the intelligent age.
That happened this week.
That's my book. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all awesome places. Go grab it now. Yes, that's Klaus Schwab, the supervillain from James Bond, talking about his New World Order plans and all those other kinds of things.
There's a Larry thing where everybody was paying attention to some kind of golf shooting.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly develop. You know, for those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more and more.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Steve. He's got nothing else for you because the New World Order is going to take over and it's going to be bad. And I'm just going to be living out in this trailer here for the rest of my life. And that's just how it's going to be, which I actually would prefer. But my wife's not super on board with that yet, but we'll see how that goes. Yes. The powers that be are working behind the scenes during a time when most Americans are distracted by either football or politics, or in the worst case, both, or Caitlin Clark, or whatever the case may be. Yes, we have some more plans coming down the line from those guys. And in the meantime, we are waiting to see who will be your next top president. If Trump even makes it to being next top president, at least according to the mainstream media, because this week on Sunday, no less, when Trump was out golfing, maybe Trump, you shouldn't have been golfing, huh? Maybe you should have stayed home. But yeah, apparently there was a second attempt on his life.
Now, I know he's behind bars, but where?
Well, what we did is we turned him over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. So I don't know where he is right now. Okay.
Did he say how did he know that Donald Trump was going to be playing golf? How did he have access to his schedule?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. We are the border county to Palm Beach. You can't get out of their county without coming through ours. But we don't have the intel from the scene there. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to imagine how he got within rifle range of President Trump.
According to the allegations in the complaint, a U.S. Secret Service agent walking the golf course perimeter saw what appeared to be a rifle poking out of the tree line.
Pokey poke.
After the agent fired a service weapon in the direction of the rifle, a witness saw a man later identified as Ralph fleeing the area in the tree.
Why would that guy shoot in a golf course? You yell 4.
Ralph was later apprehended by officers from the Martin County Sheriff's Office in coordination with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. The complaint alleges that in the area of the tree line from which Ralph fled, agents found a digital camera, a backpack, a loaded SKS-style rifle with a scope, and a black plastic bag containing food. The serial number on the rifle was obliterated. According to the complaint, Ralph was convicted of felonies in North Carolina in December 2002 and March 2010, and therefore was prohibited from possessing a firearm.
Yep, that worked.
Somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it, because American people are watching. And to say that from an administration who has consistently condemned political violence, from an administration where the president called the former president and was grateful that he was okay, from an administration who has called out January 6th, called out the attack of Paul Pelosi, called out and said we need to lower the temperature after the Butler incident, and now for you to make that kind of comment in your question, because your question involved a comment and a statement. And, it is, that is also incredibly dangerous.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. The acorn guy got in my head.
Yeah, maybe he got promoted to the Secret Service. That's what happened. There was.
Did you hear how they found out where he was, though?
Yeah, because the barrel was sticking through the fence.
His He had the volume up too loud.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat
Yeah.
the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, 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 eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
If his iTunes player wasn't so loud, it wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
That's
he was
my jam.
jamming in the bushes. The bushes were rattling. I mean, everyone that's watching has probably got their head banging right now. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's a jam. That's a song of the fall, baby. That's
it's their new ringers.
no joke. My wife actually wanted me to download that and put it on her phone as her ringer. She's like, I want this for my ringtone, because it's the greatest song of the year. And it was from a non-joking perspective.
Yeah, they were trying
Trump
to
was
mock
being
him,
dead
and it's
serious.
not a hit.
And now he's like, they're eating
So,
dogs. And some guy was like, this is a banger.
You know what they say? This is why the internet exists. That's why AI exists, right there.
Oh yeah. If we didn't have AI, we would be in such a deep amount of trouble. But so the SKS is a really crappy Russian rifle that anybody can get their hands on. I mean, you can get that thing for next to nothing. And from what I was hearing is that the Secret Service agent saw the barrel from 10 yards out sitting through the fence. And everybody's like, he was wearing like a pink shirt. You didn't see the pink shirt and the green tree. You saw a barrel and then you shot him and missed. So what are you doing? What is wrong with you people? That the Secret Service is just awful. If I was Trump, I wouldn't even have him around at this point, because it is just filled with the most incompetent group of like rubes you've ever met. It's the Keystone Cops in nice Armani suits. But
Don't call the Secret Service for anything, for nothing. I mean, people were saying, why didn't you go to church? I think it happened
in the afternoon,
like in the evening.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's not illegal to go play golf. I would love to wish. I mean, I haven't played in quite some time. I got dust off the clothes, but if that was the time, Sunday afternoon, evening would have been a great time to do it, especially in Florida.
You're okay. So you're okay with guys golfing on Sunday afternoons?
Yeah, go to mass. You can play some golf. What you doing? It's relaxing. You're out in the nature. It's fun. I mean, yeah, there's no problem with playing. There's like shooting baskets afterwards, or you're playing catch with your kid, or riding a bike. It's totally fine. One, he's not a Catholic guy, very first conversion, just like everyone else. Mm-hmm. But two, even if you are, you probably went to mass either that morning or maybe high noon or something like that. You can go.
Yeah, you probably got in. You know, if he had a Navy priest, he could have been in and out in 20 minutes.
The dude owns the golf course.
What?
It's his golf course. I mean, imagine saying, you know what? I'm just going to play golf. Where? Mine?
Right down the street at my course.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being at a friend's house once, and he had the 16th hole in the back. So you'd wait till the end of the day when it was down, so you could go play one hole, because you're living on that. They were living on that hole, and that's awesome. No, this guy actually owns the whole course.
Yeah, he owns the entire thing, so he can go whenever he wants. Yeah, so it's interesting. There are no shots actually at him. The dude who did it was a Ukrainian, pro-Ukrainian fighter. All this other kind of stuff happened to be in an ad. Some people are saying it's a BlackRock. Some people are saying it's not. Doesn't matter. He was in a high-profile ad supporting the Ukrainian cause, which tells you, whether you like Trump or not, the deep state, the war party, does not like him. I mean, Dick Cheney and all these people endorsed Kamala for a reason. But the fact of the matter is, the Ukrainians have a vested interest in not seeing Donald Trump be installed, elected, whatever words you want to use to have Trump back in office, because Trump has said multiple times that he is not in favor of extending the war. Even when he was pressed at the last debate, who do you want to see win? He just says, I want to see it stop, not favoring one side or the other. And of course, the Ukrainians, because this is the only, since their country is a parking lot now, thanks to this war, it's the only income they have, is money laundering the billions of dollars that comes from the United States into Ukraine for whatever it is. The amount of money that has been flooded into Ukraine, you could have rebuilt it 3 times over, and yet they still need more money. So it's kind of it's interesting who this guy aligns with, and the fact that they are actively trying to, or at least making it appear that Trump that his life is in danger pretty much every day.
Yeah, apparently there's a whole New York.
So from what I heard is that was a bomb. They might be trying to cover it, but they're like, oh, it was a test for the bomb sniffing dog, and people are getting out of the way. I agree with you. I think they're doing the best they can to make it sound like it wasn't a big deal, because that'd be the third time. And it's like, yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, the readers here, the community section said that they deny this as reports of being are unfounded. There was a time, I remember when I was doing Uber, Denver International Airport, they shut down there's two sides. I've never been in DIA. It was the east side and the west side, or what I think it is. And it's evens and odds. So the odd number, the west side terminals was shut down, which made our lives easier, because we just concentrate on one side of the loop to try to pick up people. It was like, this is awesome.
Right.
A bomb sniffing dog thought they found a bomb in one of the trash cans outside. It turns out to be a cheeseburger. So they shut down
it's a bomb later. It's just not a bomb now. So depending on the type of burger, especially those airport ones. Don't trust those airport cheeseburgers, man. Especially when they bring it on the plane. Sorry, I don't want to fly anymore. But people who bring food on planes, can you not bring your smelly sub for a 6-hour flight? I got to sniff it the whole time. Anyway, as you can see, it kind of triggered me in that regard.
But here was from the Daily Fail that day. In addition, the K9 swept apparently found explosive device in one of the vehicles. No one saw if he had anything on him. They just saw him taking off. This was this NASA. Yeah. So, I mean, it's assassination season. I don't know if you saw this in Haiti. Speaking of Haiti and the dogs and the cats, unidentified gunman kill high-ranking migration official in one of Haiti's biggest cities.
I thought Haiti was a capital of peace and prosperity, which is why we have to have all of them here, because they're such a Did you see the rally outside of Trump's speech in Long Island? They had this rally of Haitian immigrants magically with coordinated flag signs and talking points magically showed up in front of Trump's rally, and they had this one guy's like, we don't eat cats and pets, and I'm like, all right, you screaming at the camera doesn't really make your case for you. But yes, the Haitian problem and all of that is and I listen, the fact that Haitians are being highlighted, they were brought in by the thousands. They were dropped into small towns in Ohio, in Wisconsin, and Alabama, all over the country. And it's just it's a reaction to immigration overall. I'm sorry. I guess it sucks. Sorry for the Haitians, as Alicia Silverstone said in Clueless, the Haitians, but the fact that immigration has shown up, immigration has had an impact on these small towns with driving up rent from federal money being brought in for their rent and all these other things, taking jobs, whatever you want to say. The Haitians make $9 an hour compared to the $16 an hour that you'd have to put, like in Springfield, that Honda dealership or whatever. They brag about the Haitians. They're such great workers. That's because they can pay them $9 because their health care and everything else is paid for by the government. So they have to pay them the same amount that you would have to pay an American plus benefits. So they are taking, right? The meme has been fulfilled. They took their jobs. You have that. You have the fact that most of these people don't know how to drive and they're getting into car accidents. Not taking away the pet eating thing. If you even remove that, the fact that these two cultures are not integrating. And I know Eric Sammons and others have been like, the Haitians are making the Catholic Church great again in these places. You know what? For the ones that are making the Catholic Churches great, you guys get to stay because you've integrated and now you are a part of the culture. Awesome. Catholic teaching says you're good. For the ones that are not, we can have a serious talk about, hey, you need to, get in line with what the country of origin, or you got to go. And
college football is taking up on this, right?
What?
College football, the NCAA, especially Southeastern Conference, they've been really big about this.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
It's gonna be one of these shows later.
They're eating the cat. They're eating the dogs.
Cats too in the Southeastern Conference.
Eat the cat, eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat.
Yeah.
Don't ever ban TikTok.
Amy knows what I'm talking about. We could certainly party with the Haitians.
No, KJP is Haitian.
What?
KJP, she's a Haitian.
Yeah. There's a joke that's there that I don't that was put out, which is massively hysterical, but that is not fit for the show. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, it's the fact of the matter is like any other immigrant population. If you come in and you assimilate, nobody cares. Nobody cares who you are if you come in and you assimilate into the population and you recognize that, hey, this country's not great, this union's not great, but it gives me opportunities. Now, if you come in and you demand that we change for you, which a lot of these groups are doing because they're protected status and they're given everything, that's what a lot of Americans and people in these unions, these states are having a problem with. I'm sorry, I'm using the word country, Steve. I know Steve's about to kick me off the show. I said it twice when I meant to say union. The people in these states are having a problem with that. Their entire culture, religion, way of life is being systematically removed. And even I'm not a fan of the welfare state, but the people that rely on those benefits, veterans, all those people, they're being kicked aside as well in favor for another group. So that's where the backlash is coming. It could have been Haitians, it could have been Jamaicans, it could have been whoever was highlighted. It just happened that there was numerous reports that have been going on for over a year from places like Springfield, Ohio, that finally just bubbled up to the mainstream.
Yeah,
So
if you want more, here's Last American Vagabond did an interview with Dan Cohen and Kim Ives on Haiti's long history of Western destabilization and dehumanization. And if you want links to everything they talk about, there's all the sources underneath. And they obviously get into the Clintons, who after the earthquake, they came in and actually made the party really rolling.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Haitians, maybe that's the revenge of the Haitians is because of the Clinton Foundation and what they did to that place. All you need to know is that the Dominican Republic has the nastiest border wall in the world, and their neighbor is Haiti. So yeah. It's just, the people next door don't like you. That's kind of a red flag, as the kids say, for those kind of people.
But back to the assassinations. Here's DeSantis.
The fact that he wanted to survive, say to you.
Oops, sorry, not DeSantis.
It says that he's not he's not suicidal. Apparently, he wasn't going to take his own life if he was almost being captured. Clearly, we saw that he was captured without that, and it tells me that he's probably much more politically motivated. The last shooter in Pennsylvania, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to promote him in any way. But he was clearly a guy that was looking for the notoriety of taking that shot. I would think we're going to find that this guy's extremely politically motivated and that he probably was spurred on by much of the political diatribes that are going on these days, talking about Trump, equating him to Hitler and things like that. So I don't think this is the last we'll see of crazies out there trying to do this.
That was just CNN being honest.
Yeah, that's CNN, a guy on CNN blaming CNN, which is pretty amazing.
So here's the issue. They are trying to prosecute him in the Southern District of Florida. That's just a fact. So just think about that. You have an agency, they're prosecuting him in two different jurisdictions right now. They're prosecuting him in Southern Florida. That's on appeal to the 11th Circuit. They're also prosecuting in the District of Columbia for the January 6th stuff. So these are two major cases that these agencies are involved with. And so the question is, given that, and there's a lot of people that have a lot of issues with those prosecutions. I mean, as you well know, it's not like these are prosecutions that the American people have rallied behind. It has divided this country in big ways. And so the question is, you have those prosecutions. Do we honestly think these agencies are the best to turn around and do this investigation on a potential assassin that some of them may or may not want to be held accountable for if there was something they could have done better, right, with security? I don't know what all went into the federal stuff. But man, don't you want a clean slate? Don't you want to have investigative agencies that are just going to pursue this without any other agenda creeping in, without there being any cause for concern about any impartiality? And oh, by the way, that can bring the most serious, readily provable offense under state law, not under federal law. So this is the right thing to do for justice. And I think justice means holding the perpetrator accountable to the full extent of the law, but justice also means making sure we get the unvarnished truth. We haven't gotten the unvarnished truth about Butler, Pennsylvania. That's just a fact. We never got really any truth about Las Vegas when that happened. And so I think people are used to kind of the federal agencies taking control of things and then no answers happening. And we don't want that to happen in this case. That's not appropriate to happen in this case, especially when the state of Florida has multiple grounds with which to pursue charges against this individual. I think what will reveal, I think, is the important thing. What the state does is going to be made public. I mean, if you guys know who are from Florida, you can FOIA a lot of the stuff that's done in these investigations under Florida sunshine laws, and then they have a charge to be very frank and exercise candor with the public. I want the information to get out. I do not want any of the information kept under wraps. We're not a party to anything that happened in terms of the state of Florida government. I mean, we have been asked to help in the past on security, and we're always willing to do that. But that wasn't our primary. We were not responsible for it that day. We've not been responsible for any of the prosecutions that have been brought against the former president. So we're in a great situation to be able to look at this with clear eyes, get answers, and then deliver those answers to the public. I don't think anyone can honestly claim that the federal government has been forthright and transparent about its past investigations. That's just the reality. That's just how these guys operate. Apart from any type of political bias, that's how it's been really for many, many years. That's not how it's going to be here. And so we'll cooperate with all agency or all levels of government, because I think that some of those gun charges may be appropriate to bring, but not to the exclusion of bringing a charge for something like attempted murder.
You know, if people were smart, if the state of Florida was smart, they would just remove their, because they have the votes to do it. They have the Congress, or they have their legislature, remove the term limits and just let DeSantis be the governor there forever. I mean, the guy's fantastic in that role. Terrible on the presidential stage. Fantastic state governor, which is the only thing that should really matter there. But yeah, notice how he mentioned Las Vegas. Notice how he mentioned the fact that we didn't hear anything about the first one. Notice about the fact, I know I sent it to Steve, that the FBI has just now magically told you, oh yeah, by the way, the Iranians hacked Trump's account and gave it to Biden.
Saw that.
What? What do you mean they hacked his account and gave it to? What did you do? They're like, we just watched. And so the fact is, and I know Steve's going to agree with me completely, all of these things, and that was one good thing Vivek, whatever you think about Vivek Ramaswamy, the fact that he was like, you got to get rid of all these agencies. You got to shut all these agencies down. You got to just pack them up. You don't need the FBI. You have state troopers that could work in, interstate. They could have interstate compacts. They could work together. You don't need the DEA. You certainly don't need the ATF. You don't need any of this stuff. This stuff is over. It's just bureaucratic nonsense designed to make your life as a citizen of your state, Texas, Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, in a part of this union more difficult, because you have to ask for permission for essentially anything in the supposed land of the free here. And the fact that you have DeSantis at least exerting some state power, I love to see any of it. I love to see any of these, just like we have here in Texas. We're pushing a little bit back on the border, not a lot, but a little, and then you have this stuff. Florida, DeSantis was leading the charge during the coup, pushing back against governmental overreach. And yeah, I like to see it. That's really what I do. It warms my heart to see these things happen.
Oh yeah, just you mentioned the land of the free thing. I don't know if anybody's heard of the 10th Amendment Center. And this is from 2 years ago, The Illusion of Freedom in the Land of the Free. It goes on for 11 minutes. It is fantastic. And at the end of it, he brings up a quote. See if I can find it here. Yeah, we are not expected to be translated from despotism to liberty in a feather bed, which pretty much everyone's idea of voting. Just say, I'll just vote and just call it a day, and maybe I'll tweet about it later. It's You got to actually get in action. But he talks about all these bills that get shoved through that are quote unquote unconstitutional. But it's one of those, hey, we're like Roe, for example, it's unconstitutional, but we have to obey it because the overlords say you have to. Well, that just
the 9 justices in their sweet black robes told you had to.
Yeah. And even though that the same Supreme Court can overrule the Supreme Court from year precedent before or after or whenever, just willy-nilly, that just shows you don't have anything. It's pretty much despotism for the last how many
legislation decades. From the bench, buddy. Legislating from the bench.
Government by the judiciary, as DeHaan talks about it. But I mean, DeSantis brings up, everyone's got the does right now. DeSantis brought up, years of this. They've been doing this for over a century. It's not nothing new. But anyone thinks we're going to vote ourselves out of it. It's just no way. It's why it goes back to I think Michael Bolden said it too before, and I know Dr. Wood said it. Why is it heresy to say that one person or 1 10-mile square city shouldn't run 320 million people? That's I think it might have been a clip that we brought up earlier. The president runs 320 million people, and if no one goes, you know what? That sounds out of scale, too many, insane, anything like that. We have a problem because that's most other Catholics think that way. Yeah, we should have a president run. That's one, elected king. 2, no monarch in the history of monarchs had 320 million people under their rule. Everyone's like, hey, we need a monarch. Yes, monarchy is the best. Yes, I get that from Thomas Aquinas. Look up in history if any monarch that ruled 320 million, 200 million people, 100 million people, you're not going to find it. Even Spain. Someone brought up Spain the other day. Not that in the words of the history of the statues they bring up during Samosmela, during Holy Week out there. They have 15 autonomous states inside the one thing of Spain. I mean, they have the one, Spain is quote unquote one, but they have 15 inside that have their own language, have their own customs, have their own cultures in a sense like that. Even Spain to this day is kind of decentralized. And they were talking, the writer was talking about, they did not want Franco's centralization idea from the French Revolution. They hated that idea. And that's a Catholic state, by the way. That wasn't one, hey, we're here, and they had other places. You hear the King of Castile, the King of Aragon, the King of this. There's other places inside. It wasn't one ruler of the entire Spanish state. There was all kinds of them. You hear, it's decentralization goes back to beforehand. It's not like, hey, we got one king, which, hey, yes, the church is a monarchy. We have the Pope. We have also bishops that run their own diocese.
Yeah. And don't include the USCCB. Yeah, USCCB that was created in the 60s. That is a bureaucracy that was formed after, right? It should be exactly what Steve was saying. The fact that a bishop of Austin is the bishop of Austin, like that is his essentially a fiefdom for him. Yeah. Just like the one in the bishop of Tyler or the bishop of this and the bishop. And so, but everybody now, because of the centralization through the USCCB, the bishop of Austin has to worry about what the bishop of Pittsburgh is going to say about him, or he has to now adhere to whatever the majority within that USCCB is saying about them. And so that's why you have these blanket statements about guns or about immigration or about any of these other things, because you have a centralization of sorts, when it should have been, as Steve just correctly pointed out, individualisms, because you had your group with the College of Cardinals and, it had all that stuff. You had your correct hierarchy, and then they started inserting all these other layers of bureaucracy in. And now you're seeing the problems with that, which is why we talk about on this show, you need to decentralize as much as possible. Because you look at even within the Catholic faith, we had not a perfect, but a very good hierarchy. Then we started adding little layers of bureaucracy in each country. And you see where we're at now.
Parish boundaries, for example, the parish priest runs that boundary, wherever that territorial boundary is. You can ask anybody about it. That's the old way of saying, hey, where are you supposed to go to a parish? It's wherever that territorial boundary is. You're supposed to go here, and he's in charge of that section. and the bishop's a bigger section. It's the entire thing. He's the pope of that diocese in a sense. Sure, he has to take orders from the pope if he has to, but that's Catholic subsidiarity on there. Same idea, except ours is not a ruler from there. Ours is in your state. It's built the same way in your state. The governor is that way, and then anyone who runs the county, the city, mayors, things like that runs down that way. We have this sane idea, which they talked about there, that the president will become a runaway monarch, what do
you mean will become? He is.
Yeah, we have an elected king. People say we want kings. You have that. And when Kamala the other day, I'm gonna get $25,000.
And he has his knights. Think about ATF, FBI, and all them. Those are their knights. They do the bidding of the king, and then they all go back up through there. And if you think about it, the way you treat the head of the FBI or the head of the ATF or the head of the national parks or whatever they call that, they're all granted this enormous power, autonomy, and prestige, which was not earned, given, or trusted to. But just by the stroke of a pen, by the will of the king, it's created.
Yeah, he's the EOs, the executive orders. I mean, that's not constitutional, but by a right of a pen, as you said, he can create a law. I mean, Trump promises things, Kamala promises, Bush promised things, Obama promised things. They all promise things that they don't have the power to do, but we're going to go emotion.
We've given it to him because we become, just like everything else, our lack of responsibility in participating in politics at the local level on up is just reflective of a population that just doesn't want responsibility. And you can look at the fact that there are not as many babies being born because people are concerned about their own welfare and they don't want to take on the responsibility of doing such a thing, or the responsibility of voting in elections, or the responsibility of taking care of their neighbors, or even converting in their church. It's a population that has completely rejected it. And that's part of modernity. Modernity is reject this and let the government, let the business, let the entertainment or whatever rule for you. You just sit back and let it wash over you.
Perfect example. And I'm not in the same trashing Michael Bath, the remnant. He's out there posting all this stuff about Trump, GOP, this like that. You right now say what's her face wins. I think he said he's predicting her to win. Say she wins. Well, she takes him with her, his own governor, and he's more focused on DC than his own state that is in dire strait. Terrible idea. Does he even know who this governor? Who's running for gubernatorial out there? Anybody in Minnesota know who's going to be replacing that? You have the idea right now to be able to fix your own state, and you're focused on the Titanic that's sinking. It's already down to the couple inches to go, and you're still thinking, well, how do we save this? You don't. It's gone. You're rearranging.
You need a couple more buckets. You just need a couple more buckets. That'll fix it.
Yeah, it's lunacy mindset, but it gets the click, it gets the views because again, as his example, if he was just going after Minnesota, well, guess what? He just lost 49 other states of people watching us because no one's going to care about what's going on in Minnesota, which is what it should be. You shouldn't, because what's going on with what Kamala's promising, what Trump promises. Who cares? Half the stuff they can't do, and they shouldn't be able to do. Like the whole Kamala thing about $25,000 going to this XYZ. Great. She has no authority to do it. Only the low income, the low
first time generation home buyers.
Yeah.
So not the people that are being promised to right now. Yeah, say whatever you will about Trump, but he brought up, remember the student loans? They're going to get rid of student loans. And then SCOTUS was like, you can't do it. So everybody that voted for them, for Biden and them for the student loans, they were like, oh, sorry, see you later. And now they're like, oh, well, vote for us, so we'll give you 25. Whose money are you giving? Not yours. You ain't giving your money, first of all. Second of all, think about this, Steve. The way the Electoral College and the way that Catholics looked at Rome were very different when the U.S. was found, these United States was founded, right? It should have just been like, hey, a guy ran into town. By the way, the Electoral College picked John Adams as president. Bye. And then he ran off, and everybody's like, oh, John Adams. Yeah, that guy's a little short, fat guy. Okay, well, I'm going to go back to making the horseshoes or whatever. Same thing when it was like, oh, well, the bishop is back from Rome and now we're going to do this. The Pope said that, and everybody's like, oh, that's great. I'm going to go back to tending my garden because it wasn't a huge deal. And now everything's so centralized. I guess that's my theme for today, that we're like, oh, the Pope said this and that, and what does this mean? And I can't believe he didn't say it's.
Even on that,
has anything changed after what he said? It hasn't.
Even on that, I'll touch on what you said afterwards. But before they did the Electoral College, if anybody knows, who was supposed to elect the president? The Congress. Congress was supposed to get together. They were supposed to elect it. Wasn't the people. And then the Electoral College came up just to give the states an idea, a little say in the matter. And that was the whole terrible idea of the 17th Amendment, which gave the people the idea instead of the states voting on who's going to run, be the federal in a sense, federal executive in a sense, because they were supposed to be able to have a say, be able to rein him in a sense. Now the people get it. So the states are pretty much kaput. Again, it goes to a communistic mindset. Let's get rid of the borders. Let's get rid of this. We'll have one centralized authority. Hey, congratulations. Everyone that wants the one centralized authority, even though you call yourself conservative and I hate communism, you're pretty much running a communistic mindset in that idea. And yeah, what Rick was talking about, the whole thing with the Holy Father. I still don't I haven't read what that, I got an idea what he said just because everyone else is tweeting about it.
Yeah.
But again, if it wasn't for the internet, like I get it. We get the AI, and that's how you found out about Trump getting shot if you lived on the other side of the world. Again, without the internet, you had no clue what was going on. So how does that affect you in your state of life, in your everyday day-to-day duties, and anything? The Pope's. I was riding their bikes with my kid the other day, and I'm going, I haven't thought about what Rome said the entire day. It's pretty good.
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about it.
All these other guys are losing their minds over it. It's, again, that whole sermon, Christ is the point. Right? That's what we got. You can either complain, which is pretty much what everyone does, complain and get all twisted out of shape just for clicks and videos and views and all that. Or you can do stuff that's not cool, which is, again, decentralizing the idea of, listen to sermons, read some good books, do things like that, play with your family. I mean, these guys have families and all they're doing is tweeting all day. I mean, how do you do it?
I don't know. I mean, they're all very concerned about Rome, and most of them have never even been there. So they don't
I haven't been there. It's the idea of, I think that Jesus Christ is God and he's in control and he'll take care of it. He doesn't need us to, go after, I can't believe it. Sure, make a correction and then do a teaching for other people. Say, hey, here's what it is. And use it as an open door to use it to teach, to convert, and do apologetics, things like that, which I used to have a stand-up of Francis before when I went out to fairs and festivals to fish people in because they were wanted to, and that brought up a convo, and that was easy. And they would open that door all the way. And then you just start talking about it. Sometimes like Phoebe said, I never thought about that. You would hear that a lot, but no, we're just all about anger, and which goes into the centralization. Why is everybody so angry? Why is everybody so mad? Well, everything is centralized. Everything is at the DC level. You got one vote to come up on it, and it's a soft civil war. One control of the government. Who's going to go? What team's going to beat the other team to it? My guy's going to beat that guy, and that guy's evil, and you're evil, and that guy's good because he's my guy. MAGA versus MALA. You heard MALA, M-A-L-A, Make America Laugh Again. Cackles. So you got MALA versus MAGA. It's like, who's going to win? It's the Avengers, one facing the other. Who's going to take control of the event? If you had it decentralized, it's California, wants to do something stupid. I don't live in California.
Let them. I don't care about what happens in California. Doesn't bother me. Even with the gun stuff, guess what? That's your problem. Let California do it. Let New York do whatever they want to do.
That's on the people in California.
Yeah.
If you don't want to split, that's on you. If you want to keep it going, you either change it, fix it, or leave. Or you want to complain about it, fine. That's all you want to do is complain, fine. If you don't want to fix it, hey, that's on you. I don't care about California. No offense to anybody watching California, that's all in California. If it seems like North Carolina, if I'm in North Carolina, something nutty's going down here, I talk to my guys here. We talk, how can we fix it? How can we do, what can we do to be active in here? We don't just go, then I hope somebody from Oregon comes in and says something about what North Carolina's doing.
Yep, I'm desperate. I'm desperate to hear what the people in Washington State have to say about things from Texas. Man, I really don't care. Although it is interesting when I watch things like I think I'm throwing this at Steve without him knowing. There are some rumors about your guy Mark Robinson starting to come up in the gubernatorial race over there that he needs to drop out because there are some risque things about him.
They're digging up all guys. I know Stein is the first time in a gubernatorial race that they're not doing a debate because Stein's backed out of all of them, saying that he doesn't consider Robertson a legitimate candidate, so he doesn't want to give him the legitimacy of having a debate, which is total, you know what as. And he's up in the polls. Who cares? I mean, who knows what polls are anymore? But Stein's getting a lot of outside influence. Shocker. Cooper had that last time too, and even the lieutenant governor is going. Looks like it's going blue right now because of. It's the polls. I mean, the guys kissing up to Kamala and all that. We're focused. North Carolina is a big target right now by the feds, anyways, just for Kamala and the coach Timmy, whatever's, and so they're getting a lot of help from the big dogs there. So I don't know Robertson's getting anything from DJT at all, help out or anything like that. And Bishop who's the red for the lieutenant governor. And I'm not trying to be, hey, look at me doing this. Can any of you do that about your own state? Go on for 2 minutes and talk about the gubernatorial race, your lieutenant governor race, and a couple of people in Congress. There's a lady in Wake County did you see that? I retweeted it because the guys here, the progressive North Carolinians are going after her. She wants to end a lot of gun regulation. I
saw that. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
thanks.
I was like, she's kind of based. And then I started to think, how many guys on our side would probably just get mad that she's in the Senate, or this is in the House here. Well, she shouldn't be there. She should be out dishwashing and making someone a sandwich. Well, let's talk about that. Where are you at? How come you're not doing it?
Yeah.
If you don't have the guts and balls to get up and get running for office or anything like that, to help your own family, to protect your own family, to do this for your own family, and it takes the women to get out and do it. What is that on you? And instead of just calling people, oh, you get back in the kitchen, put on a skirt, whatever, and being all this holier than thou thing, why aren't you getting involved? Because they're a bunch of cowards and they just talk a big game and they're all talking no walk. And again, if someone can go, hey, Steve, why don't you do it? Again, I can't find a place to live for more than a year. I would love to run for mayor here in Belmont because the guy just died. He's a Catholic guy, by the way, RIP. And even gubernatorial. But I have no idea if I'm going to be in the state in the next year or not.
Yeah.
Love to find a place to root down and not go anywhere. And darn right I'd be involved. But until then, I can't. But the rest of y'all, why is some lady right there, she has more stones than all our guys? Come on.
That's what I've said about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and female politicians. I say, yeah, it's great. They're fiery, blah, blah, blah. It's a shame. I always say it's a shame that they have to be the ones to do the job that men don't want to do.
Well, like MTG and what's that lady in
Boebert, right?
Yeah, Boebert in Colorado, not Colorado Springs, but I know exactly where. It's right there, right southeast of Denver. It's easy for them because it's federal thing, because you could get to everyone and their brother to get money from them. So you get famous by getting on TikTok and looking scandalous and talking big names and doing the mean texts in a sense to get the gotcha stuff and the gotcha clips. So you're not caring about the people that live there. Actually, maybe you do, but you're using the outside influence to affect the people near you to get to that. So it's kind of easier in that sense for that. It's not sexy to run for somewhere like Wake County or Gaston County.
Be an alderman.
Yeah,
I'm the alderman for my district. Everybody snores when they hear that.
When I ran in 2010, the guy that I ran against, he was an incumbent for run unabated for like 6 times.
Yeah.
Most of the times you'll go, if anybody goes voting in November, you'll see it every year like that. There's one. Usually there's nobody running against them. The only big vote before that one is maybe there's 5 or 6 or 2 that run, the preliminary voting to get the
in the primary.
Yep, the primaries. You get that one. That's the winner. And you're done. One guy, the cat lady, could go in. You're done. You won with one because no one runs against them. And that's I think James Clyburn is always in it, but that's gerrymandering too. But you could get into the states and fix the gerrymandering. You could get into the states and again, end abortion, end gay marriage, end this, end this. But I don't think we care. I don't think we really want to. We're just like talking a big game to keep our influence up. Because even the guys you hear that do political shows, they'll always say the following thing when people say, "Why don't you run?" Well, it's just not my place. I mean, I'm just going to do this.
I don't have time to do it, or blah 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 blah. They always
again excuses or lies, unless it is, hey, maybe they just don't. But you have the knowledge. You could get in and do it, and do some big help, and do your shows at the same time. I mean, people do that right now. So I mean, I always it's the excuses or lies things.
Yeah, it's pretty rough to watch people kind of just complain about it. And folks, I won't throw myself. I have done it in the past. I have been a person who's been a complainer and not done much about it. I'm trying to get more involved myself on a lot of these topics. And it's just even attending. Let's say you can't get involved. You can't run for any of these other kinds of things. But, you could always attend meetings. You could always
Here's a meeting coming up in Pittsburgh. Candace is headlining, right?
Oh, is she?
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the.
I had to throw it in there. I'm trying to liven it up a little.
Yeah, I mean that's the jam. That's my jam. I love it. So yes, and I don't know if she's. I don't get invited to those.
Yeah,
things,
she
so
is. I just used that just to get her to come on the thing. And
yeah,
I don't know. There's probably AI.
You're just looking for an excuse. You're just looking for an excuse, Steve.
100%.
That's it. So, interestingly enough, we have that to look forward to, I guess. But what else are we talking about? We already talked. Oh yeah, we have to transition completely off of this because there's no way to do it. Everybody was celebrating because if you had a pager, it was a bad week to have a pager. If you decided to have the 1980s cutting edge technology of a pager, it wasn't a great day for you.
I just want you to imagine what we would say if, let's just pick China or Iran. Let's pick China or
pager's
Iran.
going off. Why?
One of the bad countries.
Yeah.
Purposely knew that cell phones were coming to the United States. Let's say they knew they were coming to the U.S. military. The U.S. military was importing a bunch of devices, mobile devices, and the Chinese were able to intercept or collaborate with the manufacturer and put remote-controlled bombs inside each device, thousands of them. Which means they would not only be with generals and military officials, but with rank-and-file soldiers, but also just civilians who work near them, maybe their families, or anyone in their vicinity. If they're at a supermarket, which soldiers do go to, if they're at a shopping mall, they could injure and endanger anybody else around them. Obviously, what would we call that? We would call that terrorism. Nobody would actually be saying that that was some targeted attack. In fact, even when people do attack U.S. military installations and kill only American soldiers, we call that terrorism. There have been several during the War on Terror where people went and entered Marine bases and killed a dozen or so Marines, as well as other people who were there. That was called terrorism. The flying of a plane into the Pentagon, a classic legitimate military target, that was called terrorism. And obviously a lot of the October 7th attack, even though it was purposely distorted by trying to say, 1,400 Israelis were killed, itself involved a lot of targeting of military and police bases by Hamas. A lot of those people, not 1,400, it's been downgraded to almost 1,150, almost half of them, if not more, turned out to be active duty soldiers in the military, the Israeli military. Now, obviously, there were a lot of civilians killed in Israel, not just killed, but targeted purposely. There were Hamas fighters who committed war crimes by purposely targeting and killing civilians, but the ratio of legitimate military targets to civilians was better than 1-to-1, which is often the argument that Israel makes for why what they're doing in Gaza is justified, even though that ratio is a lie. Now, just to underscore how we can think about this, after 9/11, Noam Chomsky wrote a book that surprisingly became a bestseller, or maybe not surprisingly, since he was one of the very few people deviating from the narrative about why 9/11 happened, what it means, what our role of our foreign policy is. And he has been talking a long time about how terrorism is wielded, how freedom fighter is wielded, how resistance fighters are wielded. We called the Mujahideen in Afghanistan freedom fighters. They were invited by Ronald Reagan to the White House to be celebrated while they were fighting against Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. And the minute they started fighting against American occupation, they instantly turned into terrorists. We took people from Afghanistan who were in Afghanistan, who were doing nothing more than defending their country and fighting against American forces, occupying it, and brought them to Guantanamo and called them terrorists, even though they were targeting and fighting against not civilians, but American soldiers in their country. That's how manipulated and flexible and meaningless this term is, terrorism and the like. And he did a series of interviews with a lot of very adversarial people who were horrified by the things he was saying, and it gave him an opportunity to really lay out the premises of what he was saying. This was now 22 years ago. And I know Noam Chomsky has said a lot of controversial things since then. People in public life for 60 years, there's almost nobody who will. So try and set aside whatever you think he's done or said that was bad, that's unrelated to this topic, and just listen to what he was saying in the beginning of 2002, just a few months after the 9/11 attack, when he, among very few people, were willing to say this, and the fact that he wrote a best-selling book made his platform among the largest.
But you seem to see this moral equivalence the whole time between bin Laden and Bush.
Moral equivalence is a term of propaganda that was invented to try to prevent us from looking at what the acts for which we are responsible.
You say there are plenty of bin Ladens on both sides.
Pardon?
You say there are plenty of bin Ladens,
there are bin Ladens all over the world.
On both sides. There are plenty of moral equivalence. No, it's not polemic.
It's not moral equivalence. There is no such notion. There are many different dimensions and criteria. For example, there's no moral equivalence between the bombing of the World Trade Center and the destruction of Nicaragua, or of El Salvador, of Guatemala. The latter were far worse by any criterion. So there's no moral equivalence. Furthermore, they were done for different reasons, and they were done in different ways. There's all sorts of dimensions.
But why, when the U.S. is considering what to do about this, do you always go back to past?
Not past,
crimes.
Present.
Just see, well, present. You mentioned Nicaragua.
I mentioned that because it's uncontroversial, since there's a World Court and Security Council resolution. But I can take cases, since it's uncontroversial, that's a good example. I mentioned these cases.
Are you kicking the U.S. when it's down?
No, I'm asking that we accept the definition of hypocrite given in the Gospels. I think that's correct. The hypocrite is the person who refuses to apply to himself the standards he applies to others. I don't think
sources have confirmed to us, it's been widely reported that Israel is responsible for this, but notably you still won't say that. Why is that? Is it because that's not your assessment, or because you don't support what they're doing here?
It's because I don't have anything more to add on this issue. As I said, there was no U.S. involvement, and I'm not going to go beyond that today.
Then let me ask this. These kinds of tactics, blowing up pagers and walkie-talkies, is this type of warfare acceptable to the United States?
Again, Mary, I appreciate the question. I'm simply not going to be able to address these incidents over the last couple of days in any level of detail one way or another.
Okay, let me try one other thing. Please. You know, everyone keeps urging, all parties involved not to escalate this. Isn't this an escalation already? I mean, isn't this Israel doing exactly what you've been warning them not to do?
Again, I'm not going to speak to the details of these incidents. I understand that's frustrating. I get it. And I understand where all your questions are coming from. They're all valid. They're all fair. I'm just not going to get into this. I will add, if I could, and restate a little bit to what I said to Gabe. We still don't want to see an escalation of any kind. We don't believe that the way to solve where we're at in this crisis is by additional military operations at all. We still believe that the best way to prevent escalation, to prevent another front from opening up in Lebanon, is through diplomacy, which is why Mr. Hochstein was over in the region this week. And we're still going to pursue those kinds of outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to add to that. That's pretty great. Warfare is terrible, and the fighting that takes place is just awful, and then you get stuff like this. I don't think anybody should be cheering it on, but hey, man, it is what it is in this regard.
Yeah, the story is what over a couple hundred pagers were gone off simultaneously, and all hit the guys they wanted to. I mean, 100%. How do you get those? Either that was someone that everyone.
Apparently, they intercepted the pagers because they were ordered from Taiwan, and en route they were intercepted, and they were just something was put into them, which of course the conspiracy theorists and all of us were like, phones, TVs, all the stuff that we have around us, our cars. I mean, I might be freaking out, but if you buy that Cybertruck or that electric vehicle. And then you jump up on the extremist watch list because you have a "Don't Trend on Me" flag. All of a sudden, one day, you may be like the old mob movies when you turn it on, it blows up.
They've done that to a few people in Teslas. I mean, there's suicided in a sense. You look online about lithium explosions, lithium battery explosions. That's a real thing. So, yeah, it's something to make you go, If they have that technology to pull that off.
Yeah.
Are you going to get that brain chip?
Yeah. Get your Neuralink. You get your one free bomb, and every, if you get 3 of them, then that's it. So,
I mean, Mamma Mia.
Yeah. Phones and pagers and pretty much anything electronic that we have on our persons every single day. Once again, antiwar.com, the site that will scare you to death. If you want to do in that regard. But yeah, that was a big deal. People were celebrating it. I know this may not be great on my part, but I have no opinion, because my opinion on Hezbollah and the Jews is Kingdom of Jerusalem. That's my only response. What do you think about the war in the Middle East? I say Kingdom of Jerusalem. That's what I say. That's the only solution to all of this. And
I find it hard to believe that the U.S. had their hands clean on that one too.
It was being ordered from Taiwan, and somehow the IDF got their hands on it, and they were able to put that in. And yeah, I 100% believe that the U.S.'s fingerprints, their dirty little war fingerprints, are all over it. So that's
here's a live thing from the White House.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat.
I love it. I could listen to it. Honestly, that's my new workout jam. When I'm rucking, that's what I listen to.
About an hour's worth.
Just an hour of it on repeat. Just that get that earworm in me. Just get right after it. So
speaking of book, you're going head to head over DJT. Did you know that?
Yeah, am I? Man, well, I gotta watch out for myself then. Maybe my page will blow up.
Out with the new book. It's sold out at just about everywhere, and we're going into another printing immediately, and you'll have it soon. But I would say go out and get it. It's Save America, and that's what we're trying to do. And we will indeed save America. We have millions and millions of people pouring into our country from all over the world. Many of them come from prisons and gangs, and they come from mental.
Anyway, yeah, Fox.
Well, let me tell you, get that back on me, Steve. Let me tell you, I have a book coming out too. It's not Save America. It's Saving Your Guns. Millions of people love it. They're flooding over the border. I don't know, but I would go to Amazon.com and type in Rick Barrett and find my book and download it or pre-order it, however you want to do. It's fine. But we got to save our country, and it's great. And I think don't buy his book, buy mine. He's got billions of dollars in a gold toilet. I'm trying to make the rent.
Apparently, the book's made out of gold is $90.
What? Mine's $15. What are you doing? You can buy 10 of my books for one of his. But then again, his is much thicker and it's got pictures. I don't. So I apologize in advance.
Just because Amy wants more cackling.
I love you back.
Oh, I love her accent.
For vacation time. Thank unions for paid family leave. Hello to all my divine nine brothers and sisters.
I love the Mexican one. The Mexican one came out of nowhere. I love you, ba. I love you. I love you. Oh, if she wasn't a vessel for extreme totalitarianism, it'd be even funnier. But you do what you gotta do in that regard.
Well, everyone has their battles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, did you see the fact check on ABC about Kamala?
No, I didn't.
wanna
Lou is my
ask
saint of the
you-
week, by the way.
About her comments about the military. She said during the debate this about the U.S. military. Let's listen.
As of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century.
Our fact checkers found that to be false, and I have a lot of experience in that area as well. There are currently 900 U.S. military personnel in Syria, 2,500 U.S. troops in Iraq. All have been under regular threat from drones and missiles for months. We also have action in the Red Sea. We also, every single day, the Navy SEALs, Delta Forces, special operators can be part of any sort of deadly raid. So why would she make that claim?
Well, I think what's important here, Martha, is that Kamala Harris, in contrast to Donald Trump, demonstrated herself to be commander-in-chief. We are in a world where there are all sorts of conflicts, and it's all the more reason we need somebody who's serious and who supports the military. And just remember,
But Governor, excuse me, but she said there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone. That is not true. You say she demonstrated her ability to be commander-in-chief, but did she not know about these people in Syria and Iraq? Why would she say that?
Look, that was a comment. That was a comment in a debate. I think the point that she was trying to make was a broader point. And of course, we have military in place all around this country.
What? By the way, Amy is also a saint of the week as well. Thank you for your order.
There's a meme. I wish I would. I couldn't play the video because of the wordy dirts. But apparently, the guys.
Oh yeah, when they. Yep.
Yeah, they were on the ship because where are we at?
Where are we now? So it's perfect, but of course she gets to lie about that.
I wondered.
That's what we were talking about, Lou. The ones who were deployed and they're sitting there and go, "Where the blank are we?"
Yeah. Well, here's the reasons why Cheney endorsed Kamala.
It's obvious. There's basically one deep state party, and that is the party of Cheney, Harris, Biden, Victoria Nuland, my colleague at Columbia University now. And Nuland is kind of the face of all of this because she has been in every administration for the last 30 years. She was in the Clinton administration, wrecking our policies towards Russia in the 1990s. She was in the Bush administration, Jr., with Cheney, wrecking our policies towards NATO enlargement. She was in then the Obama administration as Hillary's spokesperson first, and then making a coup in Ukraine in February 2014. Not a great move. Started a war. Then she was Biden's undersecretary of state. Now, that's both parties. It's a colossal mess, and she's been Cheney's advisor. She's been Biden's advisor. She makes perfect sense. This is the reality. We're trying to find out if there's another party. That's the big question.
John, what's your thought on that? Do you see any difference between Republicans and Democrats?
No, I like to refer to the Republicans and the Democrats as Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There's hardly any difference. I actually think the one exception is that former President Trump, when he became president in 2017, was bent on beating back the deep state and becoming a different kind of leader on the foreign policy front. But he basically failed. And he has vowed that if he gets elected this time, it will be different, and he will beat back the deep state. He will pursue a foreign policy that's fundamentally different than Republicans and Democrats have pursued up to now. And the big question on the table is whether or not you think Trump can beat the deep state and these two established parties. And I'd bet against Trump.
That just goes back and hey, show me what you did before, and why do you think anything's going to change? So
yeah,
Don't
make
get
it a
the-
little bit. The best hope with Trump, if he gets elected, is you get a little bit of relief economically, a little bit of relief. You know, maybe more energy here, blah blah blah. It's some stuff here on the slightly above okay presidency. Maybe no new wars. Maybe the stuff in Ukraine calms down. You know, everything kind of returns a little bit stabilizing. But you know, this idea that Catholics and Protestants and others that worship literally, folks, and I'm not mincing my words when I say they worship Trump, because every time there's an assassination attempt now, we get 400,000 memes of St. Michael the Archangel like over, or our Lord and Savior like over Trump protecting him, and it's like might be, that's kind of idolatry, but you know, really, what is it? It's you know, you're swapping out an 81-year-old geriatric for a 78-year-old geriatric who just seems to be in better shape at this point.
It's Trump deviation syndrome. There's Trump derangement and Trump deification. So
yeah,
both equally bad.
They really are. To just like take your pick. Which one do you want to be? I choose to be neither, but it's big money. It's big money if you're going to be in MAGA. Yeah, that's why you've noticed a lot of your maybe a lot of your favorite podcasters, Catholic, Protestant, whoever.
I mean, it's $90 to get a book.
That's what we call name recognition. That's what we call branding. You know what I mean? That's
get the shoe. Was how many $100 shoe? Get his book. I think he sold a Bible too. I mean,
yeah, he did, the American Bible, and it was I think he did it with the guy who made the song "Proud to Be an American."
Oh yeah,
like
the Lee Greenwood one.
Yeah, the Lee Greenwood Bible. I mean, come on, you can't hate him. The guy's a businessman. The guy's
he knows
a
how to
businessman.
market. I know. Yeah, he knows how to market.
Yeah, I ain't hating him on that. You know, I don't even hate Trump for running. Good for him. It's the people that literally worship him that I have a problem with. The boomer memes are just, I can't even handle it at this point sometimes.
Well, again, like the same people, you know, they're upset about the New York thing, and then he had a couple. He had a big promo in New York, and they were all about not. It wasn't a sold out conference, whatever it was, but yeah, here's what's going on in New York, and I haven't heard a New Yorker say a peep.
Now, for people that are immunocompromised, and if you're in New York, you're hearing press conferences from the governor in New York, Kathy Hochul, that sound like this. Take a listen.
Now, here's the choice people have, New Yorkers. I know you don't want to hear about this, but you can spend Thanksgiving quarantining, walking around the house with a mask on, not enjoying the holiday dinner, waiting for a nasal swab from a hospital, or you can be with your family. I want to encourage all New Yorkers, now is the time to take care of yourselves and your children. Don't wait till later. Don't get sick. There have been cases around even my office where people got sick over the summer, and it is long in duration and is really unpleasant.
Yes.
Imagine New York shut down again.
Yes, hateful Kate. Yes. I mean, if it broken record is right, or broken clock is right twice a day, i.e. she's awful. She's a terrible person. And so yeah, there's that. All right, let's wrap it up for this week's news from the Pew. I think we covered everything that we were looking to get into. Do you have your saint of the week and your since I've gone first the last couple weeks, I'm gonna let you go first, Steve. Who's your saint of the week and who is your cry room?
I'll go cry room. What happened? It was Arizona. Where did I put that?
Oh, yep. I think I know where you're going. Luckily, it's not mine, so you can have it.
Allowed to wear her Make America Great Again hat, MAGA, inside State Farm Stadium.
The Cardinals are responding, saying that one security guard did not follow policies.
12 News journalist Sean Rice sat down with the women to get a better understanding of what happened at the Cards opener.
Hey there, Mark and Caribbean. Today I spoke with Susan Rosener. She has been a season ticket holder for nearly 3 decades, going to Cardinals games with her and her husband. But something happened to her on Sunday that has never happened before. She was told she had to throw her Make America Great Again hat in the trash, or else she and her husband couldn't enter the stadium.
I hear somebody yell, you can't
bring that hat in here. And I thought she was joking, and I kind of went, oh, ha, 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 and kept walking toward the second checkpoint.
They're the words Susan Rosener heard as she was walking up the security checkpoints at State Farm Stadium.
The TSA checkpoints in your stadiums. Right.
They were uttered by a security guard working for
You can probably take a guess at the ethnicity of the woman at the checkpoint.
When she was asked why she could not wear a political hat to a public sporting event, she was told it violated the stadium's policies.
She's like, no political hats or shirts. And I said, I haven't heard that at all. And I said, that doesn't make sense to me. And she goes, I said, take your hat off. And I go, I'm not sure I want to do that.
After her husband posed a question,
if she takes it off, can we?
By the way, that dude is an absolute soy loser for that, right? If you're so concerned about going to the game while your wife is being harassed, you can't stand up and be like, yeah, we're not doing this. You can't do that. But I gotta go watch the Cardinals, whatever.
So that she could go to the game.
In retrospect, I wish I would have stood my ground a little bit, but I wasn't sure what the repercussions would be, and I was thinking my husband would kill me if I did something with the season tickets or jeopardize those somehow.
The Arizona Cardinals and State Farm Stadium have a list of prohibited items when attending Cardinals games. The two options closest to a ban on political attire would be, quote, clothing deemed obscene or indecent in a public setting, or any item deemed inappropriate or hazardous by stadium security. She pointed this out to a guest services representative and was told MAGA hats are prohibited.
Could you please tell me where this says I can't wear my hat? And I think she had heard the whole altercation before, and she's like, nope, can't wear it.
But as it turns out, they are not. The Arizona Cardinals issued a statement to 12 News saying a stadium security member misunderstood the policy on prohibited items. Their policy applies to signage, posters, flags, or displays that are political in nature. They're also working to reach out to Susan and apologize.
I am super freedom of speech. I could care less if someone had a Kamala hat or T-shirt on. I do feel like part of the problem is this security woman definitely had a bias with my hat.
It just, I used to help when my brother and I were playing at USC Aiken, we had to go up to Panther games to do fundraisers. The team we get on a bus in the morning and we'd go up, and we ended up having to do the ticket to the gate, do security. Some guys were on the field, some guys were. One time I literally had to make sure no one dropped anthrax into a vent outside a smoking room. I know I've said that before. That was one day I remember. I was smart enough to figure out that after, when the gates opened, I would run into the bathroom, sit in the stall for about 30 minutes, take my jacket off, and then mingle in the crowd. I had a free ticket. I'd then put my jacket on, go downstairs in the tunnel, and I'd hang out literally in the tunnel, watch the game from the tunnel for the rest of the time. Perfect. But before I figured it out, I remember being at that ticket, and I was those guys. It was just college kids doing this, and I would mess with the opposing team. And I remember a Dolphin fan walking in, and I would say, "Oh yeah, Dolphins today? Yeah, you're a Dolphin. You got to go on the other side." And they thought I was for real. They would turn around, walk around to the other side of the stadium to get in. I was, screwing them with my, just because I'm having fun with them.
That's harmless, though.
I mean, this is a little different. No one has any fun anymore. It's all angry.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. And I'm sure if it was a Kamala hat or a Biden hat or whatever, they would have been like, "Great, great hat." And it's like, you know what? Just leave them alone. Just leave. It's not going to hurt anybody. But yes,
yes, you're right. You're probably probably know what kind of person it was that was doing it. But.
It's a woman, so it's one of two. It's either a Karen or it's a proud black woman. Like, because those single black moms and Karens are the core of the Democratic Party, and those are the ones that will harass you. They will harass you if they see something they don't agree with. So it's not even a race thing, folks. It's just a female. It's either a Karen or it's a single black mom. That's one of those two.
I mean, at football stadiums like that, usually those were the black women. They were the most fun. You're high-fiving them, especially if you're the same team like that. Yeah. I mean, I remember going to when we were in our prime during playoff time. There, the city's wearing black and blue. We were going to the mall just before the game. Everyone's high-fiving each other. No one cared about if you're Bush or Obama or whatever like that. But it's gone so. That's the problem. It got so centralized and everything that you're now Arizona.
The money has become so big when you have somebody like Disney that is involved in sports through ABC and ESPN and all that stuff, and pushing the agenda to make it a part of everyday life. Because when I worked in Fort Worth, with the black teachers and all that stuff, even in Dallas, they were awesome. They were so great. My the athletic director I worked under, my first school, she was a black female. She was amazing. So it's not a race thing. It is the two corners of the Democratic Party that they have targeted and made and indoctrinated to a point that they see it everywhere.
And plus you turn them into a TSA agent, so you give them the power trip.
Oh, it's awful.
I mean, I remember driving by Colorado Rockies Stadium and seeing that. I mean, they had the metal detectors and all that just to get in. What the world is going on? I haven't been to a game before that had that, and I saw that driving by. Why? What is this? The
you gotta have the clear plastic bags and all this other kind of nonsense that's on there too. And it's so
you get the power trip because if you go fly, you see that in the TSA guys. They make you do.
Well, unlike you plebs, I have TSA pre-check, so I don't really deal with that.
I just go if I haven't flown in years, but if I do, I always go in, pat me down, take me, be gentle. And I turn into Eric Cartman during it, and I just yap, and anybody walks by and say, "Oh, you little sheep that walk through the," and I go to town for everyone that walks through the porno screen. Oh, put your arms up,
Yeah, that thing is awful. Yeah, that thing is awful. And now Steve probably will never fly again because they're doing the facial recognition. I told you that happened to me in Albany, and like it happened to me when I went to Rome. They did, the Romans did it. The Italians did it. And then when I came back, TSA did it. But when I was like, all right, this is stupid. I get it. But in the Albany regional airport, okay.
Yeah, the real ID that's coming out that's getting forced on everyone. I remember when I came back to North Carolina, they asked me if I just wanted a regular driver's license or a real ID, and I said, just give me the regular. I'm not doing the real ID. And that was before everyone knew that was the digital. They were trying to make that, digital and all this, and that's what's coming out with the SAVE Act. And everyone, you see the bootlickers and the brown nosers like Jack on there talking about DJT, say, "Oh, the
IVF is good."
The GOP slammed down this because of the SAVE Act. Oh no, yeah, we're bringing our own demise.
I'm this close, folks. I'm this close to getting a trailer. I have a vehicle that can pull it now. I just need to find one, and then I will never fly again. I will never fly domestically again. You all think I'm joking, but I'm this close.
But how many people that are probably younger than all of us? I remember getting on a plane that I didn't have a ticket for. You mentioned the regional. I remember going to Spartanburg, the Spartanburg Airport, Greenville, Spartanburg. I remember getting on a plane. I had a buddy of mine back when I played at Aiken. He was going up to Buffalo so I took him to the Augusta International Regional Airport, and I helped bring his bags on the plane, and then left.
You're like, yeah, by the way, I'm gonna jump in there. I don't care about Hawaii. I don't care about it. It's a nice little island. I have no desire to go to it. So,
we got. You know what?
I can always take a boat if I really wanted to go. I can get on a boat and go there. I don't have to fly. So there is that. But
my saint of the week, I'm going with Saint Gerardus. This is blood liquefied. So
excellent call there. All right, so now for my really stupid and pointless saint of the week, and that's a good point, Kansas. Yeah, I don't care. So we're good on that. All right, here's my saint of the week. The CEO of the Waffle House, eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord, and the perpetual light shine upon him. May he rest in peace. Amen. 58 years old, tragically died. The Waffle House is the greatest restaurant chain ever invented. I will go to the mat for that. And thank you, good sir, for creating it and being the CEO of it. It is an American institution, and you will be remembered.
How did he die?
Probably chopped, smothered, and
Oh, 58 is kind of young. It's kind of like a jibbity jab age.
Probably could have, but he also probably worked at the Waffle House too. So I mean, the Waffle House is not known for it's kind of like when Dave died from Wendy's, and they were like, "I wonder what he died from." It's like,
well, if I know that the flags were half mast here in the South, I know why now.
Yeah, yes, because the CEO of Waffle House is gone, never forgotten. The Waffle House is an institution, and I love it. But my cry room, Warner Brothers Films. Baz Luhrmann, if you saw Moulin Rouge or if you saw the latest Elvis movie, he's an overrated, terrible director. He is now going to direct the Joan of Arc movie at Warner Brothers, and it's about a teenage girl and a coming-of-age story, which it is not a coming-of-age story. She is a Catholic woman, and she has been brought in. We all know the story of Joan of Arc, but no, they're probably going to race swap her with Zendaya and make it some kind of crappy, awful film, because that's all they know how to do. So you're in the cry room. Leave my beautiful Saint Joan of Arc alone, Warner Brothers. Leave her alone. Stay away from her, you bunch of jerks. So they're gonna destroy. They're gonna make her like a transgender lesbian. She's probably gonna be in a wheelchair, and whatever the case may be. That's right. Female Kate. She never really came of age because she died before 18. So I don't know how they're gonna do that. But I mean, even the last time they did it with Mila Jovovich, The Messenger, back in the 90s, that was garbage as well. Of course, Hollywood goes back to Catholic stories because they're the best ones, but they're gonna ruin it. So forget you. You're in my cry room. All right, folks, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, do all the fun things so you know when the News from the Pew goes live every week. And I want to thank you for hanging out with the godfather of Catholic YouTube and alternative media, Steve Cunningham, and my humble self, The Armed Catholic. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com. Thank you to the two people who pre-ordered my book. You can pre-order it. I'm going to do this, guys, up until October 15th, so get used to it. I'm going to be one of those guys now. Amazon for paperback and Kindle. If you want an ebook, you can get it at Barnes & Noble or a bunch of other places. If you don't want to buy from Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble. You can buy a paperback from there as well. Any of you people that buy it, I thank you for helping me out. And I'm honored that you would spend your hard-earned money on me. All right, folks, God bless. We'll talk to you all next week. And Viva!
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat